Hello YouTube, Vlogging Rant here, and this week I'm doing a video about a stunt that the Party for Freedom pulled a week ago, and the fallout with right-wingers over the following week. Yes, the Party for Freedom is a far right-wing party. All links to my research will be in the description. I don't know if the project link will work for those outside Australia. Let me know if it doesn't work. So firstly, the stunt itself. On the 13th of August 2016, several members of the Party for Freedom, including the leader and spokesperson Nick Folkes, went into the Gosford Anglican Church dressed in Muslim-style attire, placed prayer mats down and chanted anti-Islam rhetoric, not only interrupting Father Rod Bauer mid-sermon, but also traumatising members of the congregation. So why did the Party for Freedom target the Gosford Anglican Church specifically? What makes this church so different from the others? Well, here are some reasons why. The biggest reason? The church is actually progressive. Very progressive. They're pro-marriage equality. They're against the detention centres on Nauru and Manus Island. They're against bigotry and bullying. They support multiculturalism. The leader, Father Rod Bauer, is secular. And the church is sympathetic to Muslims. This church is very progressive. And it is the Muslim support and the multiculturalism that drew the attention of the far-right anti-Muslim, anti-immigration policy, the Party for Freedom. The name's actually very ironic. There should be no freedom in that party's name, considering their stances. Now this group, the Party for Freedom, have a picture of One Nation leader Pauline Hanson, basically the Donald Trump of Australia, on their Facebook page. They support her. And Pauline Hanson, well, she has said that One Nation is not affiliated with the Party for Freedom. She said, and I quote, "There are concerns by a cross-section of Australians with Islam, border protection, terrorism and the government's immigration policy. However, the interruption of religious services is counterproductive in the serious argument One Nation is calling for in our parliament. Let's have a proper debate as a community and leave the satire out of it." So yeah, she doesn't agree with what the Party for Freedom did. Probably more likely she thinks it just went too far. So basically, yeah, like I said before, Pauline Hanson said they went too far on what they did. Not only that, but I'll leave a link in the description to Andrew Bolt, another far-right anti-Muslim commentator. And him and Pauline Hanson, two people I've actually made videos on, basically saying that the stunt damaged their cause. And he also accused folks of giving ammunition to left-wing media outlets. I'm sure they're left-wing compared to you, considering how far right-wing you are, Bolt. And embarrassing Pauline Hanson. Now, I don't agree with Bolt on the left-wing media argument. Again, he's so far to the right that all the media outlets seem left-wing to him. Most of the media are controlled by Murdoch anyway, so they're solidly right-wing. And the ABC and the SBS, they're taxpayer-funded, so they're centrist and maybe centre-left. But the point he made is clear. The stunt caused severe embarrassment, and when you have been called out by Pauline Hanson and Andrew Bolt, again, both of whom I've made videos on in the past, and Stephen Fry, the right-wing commentator of The Project, and Bolt has said that the cause of the far-right was damaged, then you have gone way too far in your actions. So fast forward to Monday the 15th of August. Nick Folkes went on the project along with Father Rod Bauer, where one of the presenters, Waleed Alai, is a Muslim. The whole exchange runs from 3:43 to 9:48 of the video. I link up in the description. And if you listen to the project on that day, more specifically at 9:04, it is a bit hard to hear because Father Nick Bauer is talking over Nick Folkes, and Nick Folkes is actually quite a quiet person. Nick said the words, "White Australia." Yes, Nick Folkes is a white supremacist. His motivations for his anti-Islam and anti-immigration views are entirely racist. Waleed also confronted Nick about his anti-Muslim stances from 7:49 to 8:10. A great takedown right at the end. It'd be a shame if, for example, a Muslim was the host of a TV show, he was quoted as saying, referencing himself of course. And from 5:58 to 6:10, the right-wing part-time host of the project, Stephen Fry, called out Nick Folkes for his group's behaviour on that day, essentially calling Nick Folkes a dickhead. Good on you, Stephen Fry, for standing up to this bigoted, racist jackass. Father Nick Bauer, I commend you on being progressive, on supporting secular values, on being open-minded and promoting tolerance. As for you, Nick Folkes, racist jerk, All you're doing is promoting hatred, fear, bigotry, xenophobia, division, and racism. You can go phooey for all I care. Sadly, there's been a rise in anti-Muslim bigotry over the last 5 years or so in Australia, mainly driven by the far right and groups like the Australian Liberty Alliance, Rise Up Australia, a party of literal racists, and the return of One Nation is terrifying and also stupid. Most of the Muslims that we have here are more liberal than the ones in the Middle East, and what few Islamic refugees we're getting, as most of them are spilling over into Europe, they're not ISIS. They don't support ISIS. They're fleeing ISIS. In fact, homegrown terrorism is far more likely from both radicalised Islamists and radicalised far-right wingers. I should quickly mention that there is one way that Pauline Hanson is not like Donald Trump. Donald Trump taps into the racism, the sexism, the homophobia, the conservative far-right values, even the theocracy of the far right, of the what I term the theocratic right. Do I think he's a racist? Personally, I'm agnostic about it. Pauline Hanson, on the other hand, is actually a racist. She hates Asians. Her first speech in the Senate was about how Asians are taking over Australia, apparently. Yeah, this is not Pauline Hanson's first time in Parliament. She's been in there before. I can also, though not directly, but an indirect link between Pauline Hanson and the rise of other anti-Muslim and to agree racism groups such as the Australian Liberty Alliance and Rise Up Australia, and the rise in anti-Muslim bigotry in Australia. I do honestly wonder if Donald Trump and Pauline Hanson know each other, and if Donald Trump was inspired in any way by Pauline, if he knows who she is. The rise in anti-Muslim bigotry over the last few years, particularly from far-right nationalist and white supremacist groups, not that there is any evidence the Party for Freedom itself is white supremacist, only Nick is truly terrifying. In some ways, I will admit, Australia's far right has horseshoed to the level of the far right in America. Just before I go though, I do want to point out once again that the far right is still here. Just because the regressive left is now the hip thing to attack, doesn't mean we shouldn't be calling out the far right on their bullshit. They're still here. I'll give you an example. Ted Cruz, the far-right theocrat in America, finished second in the Republican race for the nomination. One Nation got 4 seats in Australia. There are still several members of the Liberal Party who are more in line with Pauline Hanson than the rest of the party. We have to fight on both sides. This battle should be the moderates versus the extremists. Right now, it's heading for Muslims versus the West. The former fight, we can win. We can crush that. But we need Muslims on the ideological front to take ISIS down ideologically and to bring the disenfranchised Muslims to more liberal interpretations of their holy books. We should be doing this for Christians and Jews as well, and for all the other religions too. So with all of that out of the way, that is my video for today. I hope you found it interesting. Please rate, comment, share and subscribe, and have a great day everyone.